My name is Sierra. I'm 32 years old. And I want to tell you how I helped a man build a six-figure business from scratch, only to be thrown out like a disposable assistant the second he felt established. But this isn't a sob story. It's a blueprint for vengeance, the patient, quiet, devastating kind. I met Logan when I was 23. It was at a small local business seminar that I only attended because my boss at the accounting firm practically begged me to network more. I hated those things, everyone walking around in too tight blazers with fake smiles and overpriced portfolios. But I went. And he stood out instantly. Logan was older, 31 at the time. His smile was disarming, but his confidence was louder than anything else in that room. He was promoting his new fitness brand, sleek visuals, motivational slogans, bold claims. It wasn't my thing, but I admired the hustle. He asked for my card. Said I had a sharp energy. That night he followed me on Instagram and sent a DM before I even got home. By the end of the week we were texting. 2 weeks later, dating. 3 months later, inseparable. Logan was ambitious. And charming. He made you feel like your dreams mattered, as long as they didn't get in the way of his. I had a solid career at an accounting firm. I wasn't rich, but I was comfortable. I liked order. Budgets. Processes. I liked being the one behind the scenes, making sure everything ran smoothly. Logan, though? He thrived in chaos. He'd wake up with wild ideas and expect them on a website by noon. He made videos in his car, on rooftops, even once in our bathroom. He talked about disrupting the industry like he was Steve Jobs with abs. But I loved him. And when he said, "Sierra, why are you wasting your brain on someone else's company? Come work with me. Let's build something real, together." I believed him. So I did the unthinkable. I quit my job. I gave up a steady salary, health insurance, and a 401k to dive headfirst into his dream. At first it was exciting. We were a team. I handled the boring stuff, taxes, invoices, website maintenance, campaign planning. He was the face, the smile, the charm, the brand. We worked out of our apartment, took lunch breaks on the balcony, stayed up late designing programs and dreaming of passive income. We made sacrifices, shared one car, lived off savings. I picked up freelance gigs on the side just to keep our lights on while he built hype. And slowly it started working. The brand grew. Clients came in. Sponsors noticed. His following exploded. Our first $10,000 month came 2 years in. By year 3 we were making 6 figures. But something else was growing too. The cracks. He stopped asking what I thought. Started saying things like, "You're good with admin stuff. Just handle the back end." Back end? I ran our entire client system. Created all our automations. Rewrote his programs to actually make sense. I was doing 50% of the work, if not more. But my name? Wasn't anywhere. Co-founder was just a word he used in interviews to sound humble. There were no contracts. No partnership agreements. Not even a shared business account. I was working for free, for a man who told me we were building our future. I ignored it. Told myself it was temporary. That he'd propose soon. That once we got stable, he'd make it official. He didn't. Instead, he bought himself a brand new Rolex to celebrate his grind. That's when something shifted. And not just in me. In him. Because not long after that day, I saw a message I wasn't supposed to see. And my heart didn't break. It ignited. It was a Tuesday morning. Logan had left early for a podcast taping. He always made a big show of it, posting his morning grind in the mirror before disappearing for hours. Normally, I didn't mind. It gave me space to work on real things, client renewals, affiliate payouts, back-end automations. Everything that actually kept the business alive. That's when it happened. A message popped up on our shared business inbox. I never touched it. He insisted he was the people person. But the notification preview caught my eye. "Last night was everything. You're so different when it's just us. Thanks again for the shoes. I wore them all night just like you asked." Shoes? I opened the message. Her name was Maya. And the email chain wasn't short. It had photos, inside jokes, plans. I froze. But not because I was shocked. Because I'd known. Deep down, I'd felt it for months. The sudden business dinners at 10 p.m. The late gym sessions that didn't add up. The way he started closing his laptop when I walked into the room. I clicked over to the financial dashboard. There it was, a $750 purchase 2 days ago from a high-end boutique. Charged to our business account. The category was marked as brand apparel. I laughed. Not because it was funny, but because it was so damn predictable. Logan was stupid, not in business but in betrayal. He never expected me to check. Never imagined I'd question him. He thought I was so loyal, so grateful, that I'd keep cleaning up while he ran around playing CEO and Casanova. I clicked through the purchase logs. There were more. Dinner reservations. Uber rides. Hotel rooms in cities he claimed he didn't travel to. My hands shook, but I wasn't crying. I wasn't heartbroken. I was furious. Because for years I had poured myself into building something I thought we shared. I stayed up designing his rebrands while he fell asleep next to me. I skipped birthdays, holidays, vacations, all to support our vision. And he repaid me by turning our company into his personal dating fund? No. He didn't just cheat on me. He tried to erase me. But I wasn't gone. And now I had everything I needed. That night I started backing up the servers. All the systems I'd built copied. All the templates I wrote saved to my cloud. The passwords? Already mine. I created them. The next morning I bought a domain. Not his name. Mine. That was the beginning of the end for Logan. Only he didn't know it yet. Logan came home late that night again. He reeked of cologne that wasn't his. The kind that clings to skin like a guilty conscience. Client dinner ran long, he muttered, dropping his keys. I smiled. Hope it was productive. He didn't notice anything different. Didn't see that I'd already wiped the whiteboard clean of launch plans. Didn't realize I had removed admin access from his personal email on 3 of our integrated tools. He poured a glass of whiskey. Sat down like he owned the place. And the next morning he was gone again, this time for a men's retreat in Scottsdale. I opened my laptop and got to work. First stop, my lawyer. Her name was Ava. She was sharp, direct, and didn't blink when I said the words. I need to dissolve a business I'm not technically listed on, and take everything I created with me. Ava leaned back in her chair and said the words I didn't even realize I needed to hear. If you built it, you own it. Now let's make it official. We filed trademark paperwork for every brand asset under my name. The logo, I designed it. The programs, I wrote them. The email automations, I built them. The copy, the strategy, the systems, all mine. She walked me through setting up a new LLC. I'd operate under a new brand. A cleaner one. A better one. Clearline Creative. Same services. Same systems. Only this time my name would be on every document. Then came the evidence folder. I compiled screenshots. Invoices for things unrelated to the business. Emails from women who had no idea I existed. Ava nodded as I laid it all out. This isn't just grounds for business separation, she said. It's theft. Fraud. Maybe even wire fraud. I didn't blink. Because I wasn't angry anymore. I was done grieving. Logan had tried to make me disappear. So I disappeared on paper. From the company. From our lease. From the shared files. But in reality, I was still here. Building. Preparing. Quietly loading the gun he handed me. And the second he stepped off that return flight, he'd find out who really built his empire. Spoiler. It wasn't the guy in the gym selfies. It was the girl behind the screen who stayed up fixing code at 2 a.m. Logan walked in the door 2 days later, tan, smug, and reeking of overpriced spa lotion. Scottsdale was insane, he said, tossing his bag on the counter. You would have loved it. I smiled. Maybe next time. He didn't notice the way I said it. Didn't see that his login to our CRM platform had already been changed. Didn't know I'd spent the last 48 hours rerouting payment processors to a new bank account, one he couldn't access. That night, he asked if I'd help him prep his next brand evolution launch. Said he wanted to try something more elevated. Funny, I had already launched it without him. Under my new brand, Clearline Creative, I was already booking old clients, sending invoices with my name on them, and redirecting leads through my own site. It was working. One client even messaged me. I always assumed this was your thing. I'm so glad you're finally doing it solo. Logan had no idea. But I was ready for him to find out. The next morning, Ava served him the paperwork, notarized, official, brutal. It outlined everything. My legal claim to all intellectual property. His unauthorized spending from our business account. A cease and desist from using any of the systems or content I had created. He came storming into the apartment, waving the envelope. What the hell is this? You think you can just take everything? I stayed calm. You mean the things I built while you were busy cheating? His face turned red. You're acting insane. This is petty. Emotional. No, I said quietly. This is documentation. This is ownership. This is me protecting what's mine. He threw the papers on the floor. This will ruin me, he spat. I shrugged. Then maybe you shouldn't have underestimated the woman who built your business from the ground up. He laughed. A desperate, bitter laugh. You won't survive without me. I stepped closer, looked him dead in the eyes. I already have. Logan spent the next week trying to salvage what he thought was still his. He went live on Instagram. Posted reels about starting over and real leadership. He used phrases I once wrote for him, lines from our pitch deck that I created at 3 a.m. while he slept. He launched a course. Tried to slap together a coaching funnel. Even recycled old client testimonials like they were new. And every single one of them failed. Because the systems didn't work without me. Because the content didn't make sense without structure. Because the clients knew who'd done the real work. One by one they found me. Sierra, I saw you launched Clearline, can I move my project to you? Hey, just found out about what happened. I want to support your business. Even some of our vendors, photographers, editors, designers, stopped responding to his requests. They'd seen too much. They knew who actually paid invoices on time, who actually sent brand briefs, who actually made sure every project got done. He posted less. His engagement tanked. He started using buzzwords like solo journey and rebirth, trying to spin the fallout as intentional. But behind the scenes, he was panicking. I knew because one of our mutual friends texted me. He's saying you sabotaged him. That you turned people against him. I didn't respond. Because I hadn't said a word about him publicly. Didn't drag his name. Didn't spill details. Didn't post a single passive-aggressive quote. I didn't need to. The numbers spoke for themselves. Clearline was growing. I had signed 3 retainer clients and a speaking gig within the first 30 days. While Logan scrambled to rebuild from the ashes, I was laying the foundation for something real. Something that didn't just have my name on it. Something that had always been mine. Logan tried everything. He offered to collaborate on a new project. Said we could co-host a webinar to show people that breakups don't mean business death. He positioned it as empowering. A modern take on mature separation. I saw it for what it was, desperation. A last-ditch attempt to stand next to me before he became irrelevant. I declined. Politely, professionally, and with the kind of legal language Ava coached me to use. He didn't like that. The messages turned bitter. You'd be nothing without me. I built your confidence. Your whole brand is just a sad version of mine. I made you. That one made me laugh. Because for the first time in 2 years I could finally say the truth out loud. No, Logan. I made you. And then I realized I could do it better without the dead weight. After that, I blocked him. phone, email, all platforms. I even filed a formal notice preventing him from using any of our old brand materials, including certain color palettes, program names, and campaign copy that I had created under no formal employment contract. He tried to contest it, filed a dispute through the Small Business Arbitration Board, and lost. Because my lawyer had receipts, screenshots, draft history, video files with my voice giving direction, PayPal logs showing my purchases for branded gear that had come out of my personal funds. He went silent after that. Completely offline. No more videos. No more rants. Just digital dust. Meanwhile, Clearline had just hired its second part-time assistant. And I had a wait list. The same people he said would never follow a quiet girl behind the screen had followed me and stayed. Logan didn't just lose a girlfriend. He lost the strategy, the systems, the credibility, and the story. Because no one wants to buy from a guy who loses everything the moment the assistant leaves. 3 months after I launched Clearline, a podcast host reached out to me. She ran a business show for women founders, and she wanted me to talk about quiet power and what it takes to build in the shadows. At first, I hesitated. I'd spent so long being invisible that the thought of being seen like that scared me. But Ava, my lawyer, gave me a little push. "This is your moment," she said. "Tell it your way, or someone else will tell it wrong." So I did it. I sat down in front of that mic and spoke like I'd never been allowed to speak before. I didn't say Logan's name. Didn't throw shade. Didn't list receipts. But I told the truth. I talked about how some founders stand on stages while others build the floors beneath them. I talked about signing NDAs and learning to protect yourself in relationships and business. I talked about the emotional toll of being erased and the power of reclaiming your own story. The episode went viral. People messaged me nonstop. I was the girlfriend behind the brand too. This made me quit my unpaid partnership. Thank you for saying what so many of us couldn't. It was cathartic. It was freeing. It was mine. And then, of course, Logan tried to clap back. He posted a real response. Said he was tired of toxic exes riding the success of men. That women weaponized victimhood to boost engagement. His words, not mine. But the comments section wasn't kind to him. People called him out. Others posted screenshots. Some even tagged Clearline, saying they knew the real story. He deleted the video within hours. Then he sent one last email. A single line. "You won." I didn't reply. Because it wasn't about winning. It was about reclaiming what had always been mine. And now I wasn't just building behind the curtain. I was the stage. By the 6th month of running Clearline, I had something Logan never did. Stability, reputation, and peace. I didn't need to scream into a camera or rent luxury cars for Instagram stories. My work spoke for itself. My clients referred me without asking. My systems ran like a machine because they were designed with care, not ego. And Logan? He was unraveling. The last mutual friend I hadn't cut off messaged me one evening. Just a screenshot. Logan was trying to launch another brand. But this time it wasn't fitness. It was men's mindset coaching. Copy and paste clichés. Dark color palette. Stock photos of him pretending to journal. The comments were brutal. Isn't this the guy who got sued by his ex-business partner? Wasn't his old brand stolen from someone? I wouldn't trust him with a lemonade stand. He had burned through his last bit of credibility. I didn't laugh. I didn't celebrate. I just felt tired. Because this was what he'd always been doing, reinventing, pivoting, escaping accountability. And for the first time, no one was buying it. Meanwhile, I was being invited to speak at a local women's business summit. They asked if I wanted to talk about marketing trends. I offered something else. A workshop called The Invisible Partner, When Love is Unpaid Labor. It sold out in 2 days. In that room, I saw faces that mirrored my old self, Quiet women with calloused hands and tired smiles, building dreams they weren't allowed to put their names on. I told them the truth. About love. About business. About power. And I reminded them. If someone tells you you're just the helper, smile. Because helpers know where everything is. And they know how to take it with them when they leave. That line made it onto a graphic someone shared. It went viral. Logan never stood a chance against me. Not because I played dirty. But because I played smart. And I never forgot where the real power was, in the back end. Right where I'd always been. Until now. A year after Logan's empire collapsed, he sent a handwritten letter to my P.O. box. It wasn't dramatic. No manipulation. No grand gestures. Just a folded piece of paper with smeared ink. Sierra, you didn't just leave. You dismantled me. I see that now. I thought I could do it without you. I was wrong. You were the architect. I was just the guy taking credit. I'm sorry. He signed it like we were old friends. No return address. No request for forgiveness. Just acknowledgement. I sat with that letter for a long time. Read it twice. Then folded it back up and tucked it into my bottom desk drawer. Because closure doesn't need to be loud. Sometimes it's just knowing that the person who tried to erase you now sees your fingerprints on everything. Logan had moved out of the city. Tried to rebuild in silence. I had heard through the grapevine that he picked up freelance copywriting gigs. Nothing major. Nothing public. He'd been replaced, not by another woman, but by the reality of what happens when you build your name on a foundation someone else poured. And me? Clear Line had grown. We had 3 full-time team members. I'd spoken on 4 national stages. I was featured in a magazine article titled, "The Brains Behind the Brand." I never once mentioned Logan's name. Because he didn't deserve space in my success. This wasn't about revenge anymore. It was about reclaiming the version of myself I had buried under someone else's ambition. Sierra James was finally known, not as Logan's girlfriend or his business partner or the quiet one who handled admin, but as the founder, the leader, the visionary, the one who didn't just walk away, the one who took it all and built something better. It's been 2 years since I walked away from Logan and the brand we once built together. Today, I sat in my new office, downtown, top floor, sunlight pouring across a whiteboard filled with launch timelines and team goals. My assistant knocked softly and handed me a folder. Inside were our quarterly earnings. They were triple what Logan and I ever made together. I should have felt pride, and I did, but it wasn't about the money. It was about the peace. No more anxiety when my partner stayed out late. No more gaslighting over budgets and whose idea it was. No more fighting for credit in a room where I'd already built the walls. I own this business. I led this team. I didn't ask for permission anymore. And clients? They didn't come because I was loud. They came because I was clear. Because my systems worked. Because I followed through. I built a reputation Logan never could. One of excellence. Of precision. Of integrity. At that afternoon's leadership meeting, someone asked if I ever missed the old brand. The old days. I just smiled. I don't miss a thing I had to fight to be seen in. You shouldn't have to beg to be recognized in something you built. And that's what I leave you with. You might be the quiet one now. The one behind the camera. Behind the login. Behind the invoices and presentations. But don't let anyone confuse quiet for weak. Because when you walk away, and you will eventually, take everything with you. Take your brilliance. Take your strategy. Take your name. And build something they can't follow you into. Because sometimes the best revenge isn't taking them down. It's building something so high they can't even see you anymore.